So I want to before we get into Niners Seahawks, we didn't get a chance to talk about the 49ers win over the Bears, and I want to get your thoughts on that. But in listening to reading, watching some of the content coming out of that game, I cannot believe we're in year 4 of Brock Purdy, and we're still getting the I don't know how he does it. Oh, God, he just last pick of the draft. Like, no, he's just good, man. He's just good at the sport. Like, it's okay. Like, you just say, wow, Brock Purdy is good. He doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have to be Josh Allen. He doesn't have to be in that tier of quarterback. He doesn't but, dude, he's good. Like, I don't know how you walk away from that game Sunday night and think that what he's doing, if in year 1 you're like, man, he's pulling some wild plays out of his ass. Like, there's no way this is sustainable. And then he did it again in year 2, en route to a Super Bowl. And then last year struggled a little bit, but then this year continues to kind of do that thing. Like, no, we reach a point now where that's just who he is as a player. And I think we need to stop trying to make some excuse for why this works. Like, because he's good. Like, he's just good at football, man. Like, there's an instinctual thing, and sorry I'm rambling, but there's an instinctual thing, and I talked about this a little bit on the pod after the game. There's just like an IQ, right? Or just like Patrick Mahomes is the maxed out version, where it's that feel for the sport, where you go, how did he see that throw? How did he make that throw? Because he just does it. Like, there's no training for it. You just get it. And I think Patrick Mahomes is kind of the maximized version of that. Brock Purdy maximizes what he has physically because of that. Like, that touchdown to Kyle Juszczyk is feel. That's not coaching. That's not some drill you did. It's just a guy having great instincts for the game. And I think this matters across sports. Like, James Wiseman's a guy I always go back to for this. Warriors draft pick, number 2 pick, and was that 2021, whatever year it was. He has all the physical talent in the world, no feel for the sport. And when you don't have a feel for the sport and you don't have that IQ, like, you're always going to be a step slow. Like, your physical tools are never going to quite translate. And we see that across the league with players. But Brock Purdy's kind of the opposite. We're like, all right, the physical traits aren't elite from size, arm strength, all that. But the IQ and the feel separates him. And I think we saw that on Sunday night. That was my long-winded way of getting there.
Yeah, I remember I did a story talking to Tony Romo at the American Century Classic in Lake Tahoe, and I was asking him about Brock Purdy, and this was 2 or 3 years ago. I forget which offseason it was, but Tony Romo's big takeaway on Brock Purdy was just spatial awareness. Like, he is absolutely elite at the spatial awareness component of playing football, which I think is exactly what you laid out. It's just, it's instinct, it's feel, it's knowing how much space you have, how much time you have to get a throw in. So Brock Purdy is elite at all of those things. And look, like, we came into the season after Brock Purdy got the contract saying, all right, can he not be a passenger on the train, but can he be the conductor of the train, right? Mm-hmm. Can he evolve from, being a passenger on this Kyle Shanahan train and having Christian McCaffrey and all of these weapons, right? And then it started in week 1. George Kittle goes out. You obviously don't have Brandon Ayuk. He's throwing a game-winning touchdown pass on the road in a hostile environment against the Seattle Seahawks, who proved to be one of the best teams in football, to Jake Tonges, right? Like, it, and sure, that was kind of a weird game. Brock Purdy threw a couple interceptions. The last throw to Tonges that went for the game-winning score could have been intercepted, but Tonges made a great play to get in front of the defender and make the catch. But then, as time has gone on, since Brock Purdy came back from the toe injury, he's just been that guy. Like, he has played at an exceptionally high level. And look, I think you and I have thrown this out. Like, we've been done with this part of the conversation, but you can never hold having an elite coach against an elite player. Like, are we suddenly going to discount what Joe Montana did because he played with Bill Walsh, right? Are we going to say Tom Brady doesn't deserve all the accolades he gets because he had Bill Belichick? Do we
Right.
do the same with Patrick Mahomes, who had Andy Reid? Like, no. Every single elite quarterback, all of the best
Yes.
quarterbacks of all time, have elite coaches. They have elite playmakers. It's just part of it. That's part of the sport. You have to have a complete team. No quarterback is going to win Super Bowls with a dog shit supporting cast and a dog shit coach. That's just not how it's going to happen. So you need to stop holding the fact that Brock Purdy has an elite coach and elite playmakers around him. You need to stop holding that against him.
Right.
That being said, Brock Purdy is doing it on his own in a way that he hasn't done before, scrambling and making plays outside of the structure of the offense, right? Rushing for touchdowns, whether it's in the running game or scrambling, functioning within the confines of the offense and making plays all over the field. He's just doing a little bit of everything. And that's honestly the biggest difference between him and Mac Jones. Is like, sure, Mac Jones can run the offense at a competent level, but if the pocket collapses on Mac Jones, you're not getting any secondary playmaking, which you're getting in spades from Brock Purdy. And that's ultimately the ceiling raiser for the 49ers offense, which is why, to me, Mac Jones is better than Brock Purdy. Should the 49ers trade Brock Purdy? Do they need to, do they need to make a change at quarterback to Mac Jones? That was insane to me.
Wild.
Because Mac can function at a reasonably high level within the offense, but you're not going to win playoff games on the road when the chips are down in ways that Brock Purdy is proving that he can do, overcoming all these injuries that the 49ers are dealing with, including, most recently, George Kittle and Trent Williams.
Yep.
Right. So the one thing I will say, and this isn't at all a detriment to Brock Purdy, but more of a commentary on just how valuable Christian McCaffrey is. We haven't really seen him do it without Christian McCaffrey, but Christian McCaffrey has been one of the best players in football, full stop, since coming to the 49ers, and is probably a Hall of Famer and might have 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards after Saturday's game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, not to be a detriment, not to use that as a detriment to Brock Purdy, but like Christian McCaffrey is also immensely valuable to the 49ers and what Brock Purdy does.
Sure.
But again, I'm not taking away anything from Brock Purdy. I think not having Christian McCaffrey last year was a major reason why Brock Purdy's production took a step back, which I think is totally fine and reasonable, right? Like, we've seen some of the best quarterbacks of all time have down seasons, which you can argue Brock Purdy had last year.
The question was, well, what does he look like when he doesn't have the Avengers around him? Yep. His top two wide receivers on Sunday were Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings, who are fine. I would not call them...
And Jake Tonges.
Right, I'm getting there. Those were his top two wide receivers. And Kendrick Bourne. They manufactured a touch for Sky Moore. George Kittle's out. Trent Williams exits on the first play of the game. It's Christian McCaffrey and no other elite players on offense. And they hung up 42 fucking points. Like, what is it? Oh, let's see what he does without Christian McCaffrey. Okay, so, right. All right, so now we're getting to what you were saying, Chris. Like, yeah, no quarterback is going to win when the players around him are not going to win at a high level, are not going to win 12, 13 games and be the one seed without some level of like high quality supporting cast or a high, like a elite supporting member like Christian McCaffrey. Like, that's just not a thing that's going to happen. But the fact that Brock Purdy went out there, played as well as he did after, I thought he stared down that first throw. I did not think it was a good play by the quarterback, despite what Kyle Shanahan said.
Shanahan's his explanation for that interception was really weird. I think I don't want to say he was lying, but I just didn't believe him. He was like, awesome read, awesome throw, just a great play by the defender. It's like you rewatch the play, you're like,
he stared it down the whole way.
He was sitting on that. He had inside leverage. It wasn't a good thing.
He said the defender drove on it hard because the quarterback was staring at it the whole time, maybe? I don't know.
Right.
So anyways, outside of that, for him to play that well with no George Kittle and no Trent Williams, because when you see Trent Williams go down, it's like, God damn. Like, I don't know how they're not going to be able to run the ball. This feels like a Brock Purdy 3-4 turnover game, and we're having the same conversation. And then he just went out and balled. With a touchdown pass to Kyle Juszczyk and a touchdown to Jake Tunges. And one of the plays of the game was a 3rd and 7 on the second drive after the pick six. And it's Jake Tunges that he's throwing to for 18 yards or whatever it was. Like I was really, really impressed with Brock on Sunday, and going back through the game, outside of the interception that got called back, that was pretty dreadful, to CJ Gardner-Johnson for the hands in the face. Outside of that, I thought he was dynamite, and he's been really, really good now for 5 consecutive weeks, really since the Cleveland game, when it felt like he stopped. It felt like he stopped putting the ball in harm's way. He was throwing it away more. He was scrambling with intention. Like, he's just playing at a really high level right now, and Kyle Shanahan is not the reason the 49ers have a chance to make noise in the playoffs. Like, he's part of it, but it's Brock Purdy has to go at or near the top of the list right now in terms of reasons the 49ers are scoring 35 plus a game over their last 6. He's been
Pro Football Focus
really, really good.
Tweeted 6-0 record since coming back from the injury. 6-0, 91.5 PFF grade. That's first among quarterbacks. 16 touchdown passes first. 80.8 adjusted completion rate. That's first.
Man.
Right. And like, I know the other like QBR and all those numbers are super high too. Like, it's kind of undeniable at this point. What Brock Purdy's doing is super impressive, which I think we can dovetail into the conversation about the Seahawks game.
Sure.
Because to me, like, being at the Bears game and seeing the pick six, it was like, okay, I've kind of seen this movie before, in the sense of like since Kyle Shanahan's been head coach, and in those years where the 49ers are legit contenders, they've obviously lost games, right? And it's felt like, all right, there's kind of a formula. It's like, all right, a key injury early in the game, like losing George Kittle, or in Saturday's case, or Sunday night's case, losing Trent Williams. It's kind of been like, all right, like you lose a key player here or there, your game plan changes. There's a pick six, like you lose a coin toss, and then so the Bears defer, then they get a pick six, and that feels like, all right, like if the Bears offense is good, that's like a huge swing. The fact that the Bears just got a defensive touchdown on the first possession of the game, and they get the second half kickoff, right?
And Trent Williams gets hurt.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like, all right, this is kind of the formula when the 49ers are good and they have like a really disappointing loss. It's like injuries, turnovers, like that's just kind of what the formula is. And the difference on Sunday was, Brock Purdy can just play at a completely different level than Jimmy Garoppolo ever could.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. And that's ultimately what happened and what played out. And so before the Bears game, I thought, looking forward to the Seahawks game, which you never want to do. It's a
brother
1 week at a time.
But
you never want to do this.
Human instinct takes over a little bit, for sure.
But I was looking ahead to Niners Seahawks.
Jesus Christ, no wonder they played so poorly.
And I was like, I just don't love this spot for the Niners. Like, the Niners haven't played anybody. They haven't really played any good defenses. I don't, the injury situation is what you don't have George Kittle, or Kittle's going to be banged up maybe. And Kittle's practicing this week, we should note. And it looks like he's trending towards playing. We'll see about Trent Williams. I was like, yeah, I just really hate that spot for the Niners against the Seahawks.
Yeah, sure.
And then you see the Seahawks kind of struggle in Carolina, or at least not play all that well in Carolina. And you see Brock continue to build off what he did Monday night and just continue to play at that level that he's been playing at since he's come back from injury. Why can't the Niners beat the Seahawks? Like, they absolutely can't. And I think the Niners they're favored to beat the Seahawks from Vegas. Yeah, I think so. Double check the point spread. I think it's like Niners by 2 or Niners by 3.
Wow.
So, like, why can't the 49ers beat the Seahawks? Like, It's going to be a really tough game. I think it's probably the toughest opponents the Niners have had since the Rams. When the Rams came in and boat raced them at Levi's Stadium. But again, that was Mac Jones playing quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm thinking basically the point of this is that the way Sunday's game went and the way Brock Purdy's playing has changed my opinion of the 49ers' chances to beat Seattle going into Saturday.
I've got Seahawks favored by 1.5 on the road.
Okay, so I think that's
Francisco
changed
right
because I think it opened as Niners favored. So maybe just the Seahawks are getting a bunch of money.
But still, it's not like Seattle's favored by 10 points. And I'm with you, man. No. I think, and this is where there's nuance that's impossible to get on the internet. I think Seattle's better. I think specifically
they're healthier.
They're healthier. Their defense is one of the best units in the sport. Jackson Smith and Jigba Ohio State legend, is playing like the best wide receiver in the sport. Their running game when it starts to get going is really, really tough to stop. Like Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, just really hard to tackle. They've got AJ Barner, a big tight end that they use really effectively. There's Cooper Kupp is still a not great player, but still effective. Like you have to worry about him. I think Seattle's just right now today, like you said, healthier for sure. But I think they're just better. They're the better team going into Saturday. But I watched them in that game against Carolina. I watched almost that entire game, and this is even before I saw the 49ers play as well as they did offensively against Chicago. It's like, man, that was a 3-3 game at half, and it took a fumble deep in Carolina territory and then a bad Bryce Young interception right after that to really get the ball rolling. And Seattle reminds me a little bit of the Jimmy Garoppolo Niners in that sense, right? It was like, man, they would get a couple of turnovers or a couple of big stops defensively, and it was just avalanche. It might be 10-6, but then they're going to get an interception. They're going to score a touchdown. Then you're going to fumble, and they're going to score. And all of a sudden, it's 24-6 in 8 minutes, and it looks like a blowout. And that's just kind of what happened. And so when you get Brock Purdy playing at the level that he played against Chicago, save for the first play of the game and then the interception that was called back, if you avoid that and you can have those 10, 12, 14 play drives where you're just getting points, it's not going to be a touchdown every time against Seattle. They're not going to score 40 on Seattle. At least I don't think. But can you get to 24? Can you get to 23, 24 points and never let Seattle just start getting behind their run game, letting their defense pin their ears back? Because I think if you keep it close, I think that's when Seattle gets susceptible to some of the mistakes that Sam Darnold's been prone to make in his career.
So I think the Sam Darnold point is the biggest one. Because I think going into this game, there are so many similarities you could make going into this game as you could last year when Darnold played quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. They went to play the Detroit Lions in a divisional matchup that ultimately decided the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The Vikings in that game were 2.5-point favorites against Detroit.
Man.
Darnold completes 25 of 40, 245 yards, a touchdown, and interception, but largely wasn't
he was
effective.
Bad, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading wrong.
Where are we at?
Wrong box score. I was looking at here we go.
As I say,
there we go.
Numbers were way better than I thought.
Lions were favored by 2.5. I was looking at the Rams playoff game. Lions were favored by 2.5. So that's different going into this week. But still, Darnold, 18 of 41, 166 yards. Oof. No touchdowns. No interceptions, but two.
He was all over the place.
He was not good.
The big difference in that game, and this is something that this is where I kind of sit on the fence here, is the big difference in that game was Sorry, I just had another thought that crashed into the train of thought I had. Remind me to talk about the Rams-Seahawks game in a second. But in those two games, in that game against the Lions and that game against the Rams, Darnold was under pressure the entire game.
Sure.
And that
Yeah.
secondary playmaking is just not his bag. And that's where I worry with the 49ers. That's the big hang up. We can talk about the offense. Yes, the offense is playing great. Yeah, the defense got a stop in the final moment. Like, yeah, that awesome. But Caleb Williams was never really bothered, at least not in any substantial way, with a 4-man pass rush. I think Robert Saleh called a couple of really well-timed blitzes, but that the lack of a pass rush really exposes some of the other issues that linger on the 49ers defense, both for injury and just from a talent perspective.
Absolutely.
And that is my number one concern. I think the 49ers keep this game on Saturday night close, but the biggest worry is like, man, if you're not pressuring Sam Darnold, I think you're going to have a huge problem.
Totally agree. And yeah, that's the Niners defense is their biggest issue. Unquestionably, right? Sure. Special teams has been really good. The offense has been one of the best, if not the best, in the NFL over the last month and a half. So, yeah, if the offense isn't going to be able to score 37 plus points, which they've done in 4 of the last 6 games against that Seahawks defense, which is really good, and if you turn the ball over and give the Seahawks advantageous field position against the 49ers defense, that's a recipe to lose the game. So yeah, like that's absolutely it. But also, like, can Sam Darnold overcome just his super long history of failing in these big moments, right? I mean, that's ultimately it. It's like Sam Darnold has a chance to avenge, or whatever word you want to use, what happened last year. Sure. Whatever happened last year against Detroit and against the Rams in the playoffs, this is almost the exact same situation. Like, you have Jackson Smith and Jigba after having Justin Jefferson, right? You have, like, ostensibly the best receiver in the game in consecutive years, great defense in consecutive years, a top seed potential in consecutive years, going on the road in week 18 to solidify the number 1 seed. Can he get over that hump? I don't know. Like, that's ultimately, like, the non-49ers plot that's most interesting is like, what's Sam Darnold look like in this game? And I would say the Niners have a pretty substantial advantage at quarterback, and the Seahawks have the substantial advantage at defense. So it's going to be like, it's a fascinating game. It really is. And I'm excited for it because I just love high stakes stuff in the NFL, and I'll love the fact that it got changed to Saturday. But we can talk about that.
That sucks.
Why don't we take
I bitched about that a lot on.
I have thoughts about that too, because I heard you. I listened to you ranting about that, and I have thoughts about that too.
Great.
But you know what? I also have thoughts about, Kyle.
What's that?
All my Lamb Chops clothing, including my Candlestick Chronicles hoodie, which I'm wearing right now,
looks sick.
that you can see on our YouTube channel. sglambchops.com is the website. Fall line's out. Winter line got to be dropping any moment. And I am on pins and needles because when it comes to, like, warm clothes, especially this hoodie, the hoodie's great, but this knit sweater that keeps you nice and toasty. All of their, like, super warm clothes, it being a Minnesota brand, makes a lot of sense. The warm clothes, just elite stuff from Lamb Chops. sglambchops.com is the website. And then make sure you throw Candlestick into the search bar. You will find our hoodie, which I'm wearing right now, and our t-shirt, which I have in my closet. I'll probably wear later today. You can find it on SG Lamb Chops website, and use promo code Candlestick20 to save 20% off your order. Lamb Chops, join the herd. We are also brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, Kyle, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. And, of course, that is Prize Picks. I haven't made a lineup yet, but lots of tasty plays this week. I need to see how the 49ers – I need to see how the 49ers injury situation shakes out before I start making my lineup. You have I'm already looking at that Brock Purdy passing yards number, 242.5 passing yards. I think the more than is going to be pretty tasty there. Maybe the same for Sam Darnold, 242.5, same number. That's interesting. Brock Purdy rushing touchdowns. You're at a half. Does he do is the zone read part of the 49ers game plan in the red zone again? Is he going to get a sneak? I like those possibilities. There's a lot of tasty stuff for Niners Seahawks over on Prize Picks. So make sure you download the Prize Picks app today. Use code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Of course, that is code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
The Rams-Seahawks game, we were talking about how interesting this Niners-Seahawks game is. I wonder how differently we'd view the Seahawks if not Khalil Shakir, Rashid Shaheed had not returned that punt for a touchdown and had the Seahawks kicked a field goal there and lost 30-19 or whatever the final would have been there, 30-17.
Who was it that picked up the 2-point conversion?
Zach Charbonnet.
Randomly. Yeah, is that like there was
if he doesn't pick that, it's funny how the NFL works like this, because we talked about this with the Bears too. The Bears came into Levi's at 11-4, and then you're like, hey, they probably should have lost to Cincinnati. They probably should have lost that game to Minnesota. You look at all these games that they pull out at the end, and you wonder how sustainable it is, and lo and behold, they get into yet another situation where, final 2 minutes, they're down. This is their bread and butter. And it's like, you can't just do that every time. That's not going to work, because those coin flip games, you're going to lose about half the time. And eventually, you saw the Chiefs this year. They went, whatever it was, 12-0 in one-score games this year. And I think they lost every one-score game they played this year, or something close to it.
Yeah. Last year, they went 12-0.
Yeah, and so it's just kind of, that's just how it works. And so with the Seattle team, again, I think they're really good. I'm not trying to disrespect the Seahawks at all, but I do wonder how I personally would feel, because, again, I look at it and I go, man, I think Seattle's a better team than San Francisco. But I wonder what that would look like if they had lost to the Rams at home by 2 touchdowns in a gotta-have-it game. And Sam Darnold made the plays. He did. He drove them down. They scored the touchdown. They got the 2-point conversion at the end. Like, all credit there. But is he dragging them back into that game if Rashid Shaheed doesn't return a punt for a touchdown? Or if they don't get that weird 2-point conversion? Like, it's again, I'm not trying to say one way or the other. It's one of those things that's clanging around in my head the way the Bears game kind of clanged around in my head a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game where the Seahawks were down 30-14 early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They needed 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions just to send the game to overtime.
Yeah. It was insane. And a bunch of insanity had to happen to get them there. And then, remember, they were down in overtime. The Rams scored a long touchdown in overtime.
But what's true, I mean, we've mentioned this before, but like the 49ers needed a lot of similar weird stuff to beat the Rams on Thursday night earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, it cuts both ways for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. I
wonder, real quick, on the Rams thing, I know they got 3 turnovers against Seattle, and I'm not going to bank on the 49ers getting even 1 takeaway, much less 3. But the Rams did hang up 37 points. And I wonder how much Kyle Shanahan's going to look at what Sean McVay did in that game and try and go to school on it a little bit. And can the 49ers create a couple of explosive plays where they don't necessarily need to be perfect, or maybe they create an explosive play in the pass game that loosens some things up in the run game and they're able to move the ball a little more effectively. That's the other thing I've got my eye on Saturday night.
Especially since Matt Stafford is such a system quarterback, particularly in comparison to Brock Purdy.
Some would call him more of a system quarterback than Brock.
Unequivocally.
Yeah.
That was one of the more wild things I've seen. Just a lot of wild things on the internet recently, honestly. Some wild takes.
The 49ers being unexpectedly awesome has been great for the takeosphere.
Yeah. I saw somewhere that Brock Purdy should be an MVP candidate despite missing 8 games. Any thoughts on that?
Sure, man. I do think
if you wanted to say that Brock Purdy would be an MVP candidate had he played the entire season, 100%. That is, I think that is a completely fair take. To say that Brock Purdy should be an MVP candidate despite missing half of the games,
half of them,
or at least
half of them things,
almost half of the games, because he's had a really nice six week stretch, is categorically nuts.
That works for things like comeback player of the year, rookie of the year, where there's no real like candidates. But man,
it is not
MVP. You got to play. I think you got to play minimum 14 games.
It is not Brock Purdy's fault that he missed the time that he missed with the turf toe.
Mm-hmm.
But part of being valuable is being available.
Yeah. And
you're not valuable if you're hurt. Sorry, it's just the cold fact of sports.
I don't think anybody is very seriously trying to make Brock Purdy an MVP candidate. But to your point,
someone is. At least somebody.
I don't think the large swath of the population is trying to actually make Brock Purdy.
Sure.
But to that point, over the last 4 games, if you extrapolate that out to 16, because I'm only going to multiply by 4 because I'm doing this math in my head. Mm-hmm. I've got him at 4,224 passing yards. I think that's right. 4,244, 48 touchdowns, 8 picks, a 10.5% touchdown rate, a 1.6 interception rate, and a bunch of rushing touchdowns. Like, yeah, that's an MVP candidate for sure.
Absolutely.
But you can't.
Absolutely.
No. Now, the Kyle Shanahan Coach of the Year candidacy is way more of a thing to me because I've seen, it's a really strong class this year. Ben Johnson, we just watched him with Chicago. What he's done with that team has been great. Mike Vrabel, the turnaround in New England has been pretty remarkable. But again, they went in with young kind of top end quarterbacks, and they've been, for the most part, healthy this year. The 49ers have played Mac Jones, and they've had Brock Purdy for about half the season, but they survived with Mac Jones. They've survived without Nick Bosa. They survived without Fred Warner. They survived a bunch of time without George Kittle. Ricky Pearsall missed a bunch of time. Like, what Kyle Shanahan has done this year is Coach of the Year shit. Yeah. And the fact that he's going to probably finish like 3rd or 4th in the voting because like, oh, the Niners are always good is asinine. That's stupid. It should not be. Coach of the Year should not go to the team that went worst to first. That's not. I don't think that's a thing or should be a thing. It is a thing. I don't think it should be. Kyle Shanahan should be the Coach of the Year, man.
It's one of those, like, if you were to go back to August and think about expectations coming into the season, like happiness is results minus expectations type thing, right? And nobody really expected the Patriots to be in the mix for the number 1 seed. So I get that. But at the same time, I agree with you. And I actually think if the Niners win on Saturday, that Shanahan will be Coach of the Year. I think that's going to be such a high profile game. I think there's going to be so much discussion about, oh man, Mac Jones won at such a high, or played at such a high level because of what Kyle Shanahan was able to do from a coaching perspective. And Kyle Shanahan brought in Robert Saleh, and Robert Saleh's been as good as a defensive coordinator can be given the dearth of talent they have because of the injuries. And the 49ers in the offseason let all of these players go. Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw and Charvarius Ward on defense, and the 49ers are still the number 1 seed, right? Like, I think all these narratives really pick up a lot of steam if the 49ers win. And I think if the 49ers win, that Kyle Shanahan will be viewed as the Coach of the Year. Like, I think that's going to be pretty clear because, yeah, to your point, like, sure, it's really impressive to take a young first or second year quarterback to the playoffs in the way Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel have. Mm-hmm. But those are also like top end of the first round draft picks. Like, these are super talented quarterbacks. So right. Yeah, they're young for sure, but none of these teams have dealt with injuries, particularly injuries to their quarterbacks. And, you know, George Kittle's missed basically half the season. You have no Brandon Ayuk at all. You have no Nick Bosa for the vast majority of the season. No Fred Warner. Like, these, in any other scenario aside from this year for Kyle Shanahan, those types of injuries have led to just miserable seasons.
Yep.
And yet the 49ers are still in the mix for the 1 seed. So I think if the 49ers win on Saturday And Kyle Shanahan comes away, 5-1 in the NFC West, which is largely considered the best division in football, including 2 wins against the Seahawks in, on the road week 1, and then to get the 1 seed week 18. Like, I think Shanahan's going to win it. That would be my prediction. I think if the 49ers win the game, Kyle Shanahan wins Coach of the Year.
Is voting not in already?
No, I don't think so. I don't think voting for awards goes till after the
final
regular season's over. Yeah.
All right. It's kind of stupid that the 49ers regular season ends on Saturday.
Man, so okay.
I'll let you cook on this. I've already done my bitching.
You remember, yeah, so I don't have as much of a problem. I actually talked with Josh Dubow about this before the game on Sunday. Josh Dubow of the Associated Press. And avid listener of the pod, huge Michigan fan. Couldn't be more excited for him to have a competent head coach now. Really just over the moon for the Wolverines.
My favorite, I'm comfortable saying that he is my favorite Michigan alum.
Sure. But I was talking to Josh Dubow about, the possibilities of the Niners getting flexed to Sunday night. And I just kind of assumed Niners Seahawks are the 1 seed. They were flexed in 2019. They'll be flexed again this year. And he was like, well, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, the NFL typically like that. He made the case that there's more on the line for Pittsburgh, Baltimore, because the loser of that game doesn't make the playoffs altogether.
Sure. Understood.
I was like, okay, sure.
I get that.
And then he was like, also, there's the possibility that it's Aaron Rodgers' last game. And I was like, that makes sense. Like, do I agree with it? Am I personally the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan? Probably not. I don't think I'd be high on that list if you're making a list of Aaron Rodgers fans.
No, but his last game matters in the context of NFL history.
Totally. And so, it makes sense to me why Pittsburgh and Baltimore would be flexed into that Sunday night slot, which is, the most coveted slot of the weekend. That being said, and I know I've ranted on this before, my least favorite thing about the NFL is them sacrificing the quality of the product and forcing these players to play on short rest just for TV audiences. I hate the Thursday games. I hate the preseason. I hate flexing games to where players are getting less rest. I hate short weeks. I hate the rest discrepancies where last year where the 49ers played 7 teams coming off of bye weeks. There's just so much data that says you have a huge advantage when you're coming off a bye. So the NFL basically taking the biggest game of the weekend, or, the second biggest game of the weekend, whatever you want it to be, and having each team play on short rest. This sucks for the Seahawks too. The Seahawks played in Carolina last week. Carolina to Seattle is one of the longest flights you can make in the NFL. I think the only one that would be longer would be Miami to Seattle. It's insane to make the Seahawks have to play on a short week on the road for a second straight week after flying cross country to Carolina. It sucks, man. I hate when the NFL does this. The audience for Niners Seahawks on Sunday, if it were the Fox game of the week, would have been massive.
Yep.
It would have been absolutely massive, and you're not losing anything. And now it's we need to maximize our viewing window. So it's the ESPN game on Saturday. Man, it's my least favorite thing about the NFL. It's them sacrificing the health of the players, the quality of the product, just so you can get an idealized television window. That to me sucks. And I hate that the schedule, they're going to have 18 games. I hate that. I hate that they're probably going to continue to expand the playoffs. All this stuff, the 16 game schedule, the 6 teams in each conference in the playoffs was a perfect system and a perfect format, but the NFL had to squeeze more games out of the broadcasters. I get it. It's more money for everybody. I'm never going to win the argument against that. Right. There's in 10 years, there's going to be a 22 game schedule. There's going to be, 10 teams from each conference in the playoffs. It is what it is. That's where this is all headed because it's more money for everybody. I just hate it. And putting the 49ers Seahawks on Saturday and giving each team less rest as a result of it for such a huge game, I think is going to make the game worse. And I'm against it.
I also think this idea that the Steelers and Ravens. Oh man, if one of them, whoever loses, is out of the playoffs, it's like, yeah, because they're both mid as fuck.
Sure.
Like, yeah, man, one of them's going to be out of the playoff. They're out because they aren't good enough. And the team that wins is going to host a playoff game and probably lose. And the 49ers and Seahawks are playing for a chance at a bye week or going on the road. Like, that's just such a massive, massive deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the Aaron Rodgers of it. I get that there's a ton of Steelers and Ravens fans. I get they're two of the league's, premier franchises. I got it. And I understand. And I also understand that there's TV rights stuff, or maybe ESPN circled 10 games or like, hey, if this game matters, we want this game. Maybe that has something to do with it. But you're right. For Seattle, it's flying across the country. For the Niners, it's back-to-back short weeks. Like, that sucks. Where they went from playing on Monday night to Sunday night to Saturday night. Like, that's pretty brutal. So like I said, I get it. I understand that this isn't some like vast conspiracy. It's the NFL trying to maximize its dollars and maximize its viewership. I got it. And the TV networks trying to maximize their viewership. But it just, I figured, Niners won, they're going to play Sunday night again. Or it's going to be repeated 2019. Like, why would they not want that? And it's like, Ravens Steelers? This isn't Hines Ward and Ray Lewis, man. Lamar Jackson just got back to practice today. Like, Lamar's practicing. Cool. Good to watch a banged up Lamar Jackson against a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Awesome. Can't wait. Gonna be fun.
Like, you're ostensibly penalizing the two best teams in the NFC for being two of the best teams in the NFC, where, to your point, I forget what the Ravens and Steelers records aren't. They both like 9-8 or something?
They're
9-7.
Steelers, I think, are 9-7, and I think the Ravens are 8-8.
So penalize the teams who have had.
That's how little I've been paying attention.
Right. Penalize the teams that have had dramatically worse seasons than the two teams competing for the 1 seed in the conference.
So I did see. Let's see. We've got Baltimore at 8-8 and Pittsburgh at 9-7.
Yeah.
Cool. So the battle for the 9-8. It would have been perfect. You have the NFC South duking it out for whatever that is, and then you could have had the AFC North duking it out for whatever that is. It would have been perfect. But I get it. I did see the argument, and this I think is less of a thing. But if whatever team does lose has one extra day, conceivably going into the postseason, unless play the 49ers, or the 5
unless
seed.
They play the Saturday game. There are Saturday games in the divisional round or the wild card round.
But even still, they'd have an extra day on somebody who played on Sunday.
Sure.
But if they get the 5 seed, if the Rams somehow lose to Arizona and the 49ers lose to Seattle, the Niners are going on the road to the NFC South winner, which also played Saturday. And now the 49ers have to fly across the country.
Right. My point would be that, like, cool, you get an extra day of rest, but you still don't. You get a normal week if you play Saturday.
Right. Yes.
Coming on instead of the extra day. So you don't even get the extra day if you're a Saturday team. So I don't know, man. I'm just so out on the concept of doing, it's like sacrificing players' health and safety for
it's stupid.
a better television window, and like penalize the worst teams. Sorry, like if you're a 500 team battling for a playoff spot, like, you have to play on a short week leading into week 18, not the teams competing for the number 1 seed. I think it's insane.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that, like, the AFC North teams, like, their travel schedule is dramatically easier than the West Coast teams.
Yeah.
All their flights are like an hour.
Yeah.
Compared to, all these. Anyway, enough of me ranting and complaining.
Great. Niners, Seahawks, Saturday, lock it in.
It's going to be fun. I just, the storylines are really, really, like, you have the Brock Purdy element of it. You have Kyle Shanahan's Coach of the Year candidacy. You have Sam Darnold revenge. Can Sam Darnold, like, this is the classic Sam Darnold fall on his face spot. Can he bounce back from that and have a big game against the team that basically resuscitated his career when he was a backup with Kyle Shanahan before going to Minnesota. Like, it's great, man. This is great stuff. This is really, really great stuff.
Sports.
And the 49ers are just in an incredible spot, all things considered. Given what the offseason was, given how the season started from an injury standpoint, given the trade deadline discussion, all of that stuff. It's like the 49ers are here somehow, largely because, hey, turns out Brock Purdy is probably worth the contract they gave him.
This might be a discussion for a different podcast, but knowing what we know now, do you think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, if they could rewind to the trade deadline, would work differently? Like, do you think they give up let's say day 2 pick in 2026 to add a pass rusher?
Who did that? Was there a pass rusher who went for around that price?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Nothing is popping into my mind right now. I don't.
Okay,
Trey Hendrickson.
I'm out. He didn't play, I think, the rest of the year. He was
Trey Hendrickson was never that, like, a first round pick, and paying him and the injury concern, that never seemed like a good idea.
Okay, so maybe not a day 2 pick, but would you have shelled out another day 3 pick for Arden Key or somebody of that ilk?
Sure. Right. But you got Cleve Farrell.
Boy, did you?
And you got Keon
Without
White.
having to give up a pick.
Yeah. So
Keon White, who may not be available in week 18 because he hurt his groin. Man,
we'll see.
That's all I got. Oh, hey, I wrote this down in my notes earlier and didn't get to it, but I want to just real quick, going back to the Brock Purdy thing we were talking about. I think if I was ever a scout for an NFL team and I was looking at quarterbacks, I would require that quarterback played a lot of baseball growing up. Because I think that's where the spatial awareness thing you were talking about, I think a lot of that comes down to baseball. Because your ground ball, you're playing short, there's a ground ball to your right. Does your third baseman have it or no? And then when you pick that ball up, you have to quickly size up, okay, there's the runner. Here's how hard I know I can throw it. Here's the arm angle I've got to get the throw off at. Like, there's so much of that in baseball that I think it translates. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Brock Purdy's great at it, played a lot of baseball. Patrick Mahomes great at it, played a lot of baseball. That would be my top thing, is that my quarterback would have had to play baseball at a relatively high level.
Can you turn a double play? Like, do you go to second, or do you just make the play to first?
Right. Yeah. There's so much of that in baseball.
Sure. Yeah, I think just more broadly, like, playing multiple sports, I think that's kind of the argument for not just, like, pigeonholing yourself into playing one sport. And I also think really another big one is just, like, college experience. Just, like, I think it's becoming very clear that these quarterbacks that only start for 1 year in college are massive risks, no matter how well they play in that 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the classic Trey Lance versus Brock Purdy discussion, right? It was like Trey Lance had 1 year where it's like, sure, he played well, but, like, you really need a lot of reps. You need a lot of reps to maximize your spatial awareness, right? Or even hone it, right? Or get more comfortable with it. And that's the thing that Brock Purdy, how many games did Brock Purdy start in college? Wasn't it like 50? It
was a lot. I think, 48, 47, 48.
Yeah, like that's a ton of games.
There's a lot of football.
And that's how you just play the position at a really high level with a lot of, like, being comfortable in a lot of unique situations. Because you play that many games, you're just going to be more comfortable than somebody who plays in 12.
48 games. And the other important thing is he was successful. Like, he put up good numbers and was an effective player. It's just like 3,900 passing yards in his second year, 3,200 in his final year. The numbers never went up.
We're losing your Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, I could tell. I had the audacity to load another tab on my browser. I'm a real piece of shit.
All good. But yeah, Brock Purdy, super productive in college.
Good player.
Good player.
Good player.
Lots of games.
A lot of games. Being good in those games matters.
Do you have a prediction for Saturday?
Yeah, I think Seattle wins it. They're just defense in a one-game sample like this to me matters a lot. And so I've got Seattle 23-19.
19. All right. Weird score. Something weird happening.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pick the Niners. I think it's just going to be about the difference between Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. And I'm going to side with history in that I'm not expecting Sam Darnold to come in and light the 49ers up, even though the 49ers defense can absolutely be had. I really like just Robert Saleh going like, it's not going to be the best defense, but it's not like Robert Saleh is going to make a call like he did in the final play of Chicago. There's just going to be something, a blitz, a pressure somewhere that leads to a big play defensively. Niners give up a bunch of points, but they do get a stop or a turnover. Brock Purdy plays well. And I will go Niners 30-28.
30 again. Wow.
Yeah, 30-28.
If they put up 30 on Seattle, I'm picking them to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to go out on a limb and pick the number 1 seed in the NFC to win the Super Bowl.
I do think all the talk of like, oh, they'll get the 1 seed and then they could just play at home until the Super Bowl. It's like, all right, they still have to win the games in the playoffs.
Right.
It's like there's a lot of like, get the 1 seed. They don't even have to pack a suitcase. It's like, yeah, no, well, sure, but they still need to win those games.
Yeah.
It's just the discussion is like, yeah, that's just shoo-in to play at Levi's home Super Bowl. It's like, do you want to see the Rams? Do you want to see the Seahawks again? Would you like beating the Seahawks a third time?
That's the other thing is, okay, let's say they get the 1 seed. That's what's waiting for them in the divisional round is one of Seattle or LA.
Yeah.
Because it would be the lowest remaining seed, and those would be the 5 and 6 seeds. And I don't think Green Bay is going into Chicago and upsetting Chicago.
Well, you are just completely ruling out Carolina or Tampa winning that first round matchup.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with you. That should be noted.
Yeah, I don't think that either of those teams is going to, although that's always how it works, right?
Yeah.
Seattle is, let's say the Rams are the 5 seed or Seattle's the 5 seed. They're going to be favored by 3.5 or whatever on the road, and then they're going to lose outright.
The Rams just lost to the Falcons on Monday night.
Boy,
Not that was a super important game, but
the Rams also lost to the Panthers recently.
Yeah.
Huh.
I would still like right now. If they can get Devontae Adams back, I would still pick the Rams out of the NFC.
I would too.
Even if the Niners get the 1 seed.
They're the most complete team.
Yeah. Right. Offense, defense, quarterback, coach. Special teams kind of a disaster. Maybe that's their downfall, but anyway.
All right. I'm going to watch Golden State smoke this game to Charlotte.
Okay. Sounds great. Talk to you guys soon. Subscribe, rate, and review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shout out to Prize Picks, Lamb Chops. Shout out to Cooperage. Go drink some Candlestick Chronicles Hazy IPA at Cooperage and watch the 49ers playoff game at one of the Cooperage locations. They have 2 locations in Santa Rosa. Both of them awesome. Check them out.
And if you're like, hey, I live in Southern California, or I live in a part of the Bay Area where getting to Santa Rosa is not on my agenda, that's fine. Go to CooperageBrewing.com. You can order a case of beer and they'll send it to your front door. You get cold beer at your front door. So order some Candlestick Chronicles and have it for your watch party or just to watch by yourself because the Niners are going to be in the playoffs one way or the other. So lock in, baby.
See you guys.
Shout out Al Rucker.